Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. It's Tuesday, December 16th, 2014, and I'm Leanne McAdoo. Here is what's coming up tonight.
Tonight, a Washington state sheriff defends his deputy's controversial comments. Then, your social media activity factors into your threat score. And a new poll shows Americans want fewer gun restrictions. That's next on the InfoWars Nightly News.
Anybody that's got a head on their shoulders is working to try to fix things politically while arming to the teeth and getting ready.
Well, you'll recall that yesterday we showed you shocking video that was provided exclusively to InfoWars showing a Washington state sheriff's deputy on camera saying that officers need all of those MRAP vehicles because of those pesky constitutionalists with firearms. Now, the video prompted thousands of comments and a 9-minute video response from Sheriff Ozzie Knezovich in which he claims that the video was being taken out of context.
Today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about a InfoWars report that states that a Spokane County deputy stated that we need a armored personnel vehicle to deal with constitutionalists that have stockpiled ammunition.
It's totally appropriate in Iraq, but what kind of a situation in the U.S. would you see that happening?
I mean, we've got a lot of constitutionalists and a lot of people that stockpile weapons, a lot of ammunition. I mean, we've got a lot of constitutionalists and a lot of people that stockpile weapons.
That report, in and of itself, is very misleading. What you haven't been told is a particular interview started by a lady filming deputies at a charity function that were working with the MRAP, and her whole contention was that we were trying to desensitize children to the fact that we had an MRAP, that it was all propaganda. She then proceeded to interview not just one deputy, but a sergeant, a corporal, and a deputy. My question is why is only 3 seconds of that interview being shown by InfoWars?
Because we are engaged in real journalism here. We go wherever the truth leads us. Now, we've seen a long slide towards a paramilitary police state in this country. I've been talking about it for a long time, made 4 films on the subject since the late 1990s, and we are now here. They've gone from denying that this is happening to admitting it.
The Department of Homeland Security is working with law enforcement to build a domestic army because the federal government is afraid of its own citizens. And don't forget, the FBI, the DHS, and the nation's police departments, they're being trained that we are the enemy. And look, I've got here a Department of Justice Constitutionalist Extremist Guide right here in my hand. This was published by the DOJ. And it says to look out for American citizens who are members of the Patriot Movement. This is a training manual that's titled Investigating Terrorism and Criminal Extremism, published by the DOJ, complete with terms and concepts to help recognize potential extremists. I'm going to read some of their bullet points, and you're not going to believe this. This is what they consider to be extremist speech. Anyone who talks about black helicopters, well, they are obviously prone to conspiracy theory beliefs, and they should be monitored and considered a threat, according to the DOJ. If you talk about the Bilderberg Group or the Trilateral Commission or the CFR, you are a threat. Anyone who talks about the Illuminati or the New World Order, well, you're a threat. And if you stockpile food, water, and weapons, you might be an extremist, according to the United States Department of Justice.
So rather than apologize for the comments made by his deputy, the sheriff essentially blames InfoWars for daring to report on this story and saying that this video was taken out of context, that the quote was taken out of context, even though it speaks for itself. The video in its entirety speaks for itself. He said exactly what he meant. There was no way to spin that. We let him say what he said. So joining me now is Washington State Republican Representative Matthew Shea, who was appalled when he was presented with this video. What did you think when you saw the initial video with the sheriff deputy saying that they needed these armored military vehicles to deal with constitutionalists with firearms?
Absolutely appalling. It was actually unbelievable that somebody would say that on camera. And immediately I looked at the whole video. It's very clear that this is in context. In fact, I don't even know a context or a situation where such a statement would ever be justified. So it was very appalling to me and to all of our community here in Spokane Valley, Washington. A lot of people are up in arms right now and asking the sheriff what on earth he is thinking and what his policies are that would lead a deputy to be so comfortable saying that in a public place like that and what he's going to do about it.
Right, especially considering a lot of the backlash that deputies are facing just being on camera, being filmed by citizens, to just so casually be able to offer up that as a response. And then, of course, you saw the 9-minute video response there by Sheriff Knezovich, and basically saying it was all taken out of context, we're fear-mongering. What did you think about his response?
Well, this is the smoking gun. Senator Rand Paul here just a couple weeks ago actually called out the people administering the grant program that sends these armored vehicles down to local law enforcement and asked a question then, why do you need bayonets? Why do local law enforcement need bayonets? Give me one instance where they could use those things. And I think that that's what this particular individual, when they interviewed the deputy, was asking the same question. And the question has to be answered by him, not by the public. He's the one that has to defend why he's against being a constitutionalist, being against somebody that loves the rule of law, that loves the Constitution, being against somebody that believes that the Constitution means what it says. He's got to defend that. And his deflection, which is what that 9-minute video was really kind of what he does here in Spokane County. Is a long pattern of behavior of bullying and intimidation. And that's really the way it came across to me and many other elected officials out here in Spokane Valley.
And this has larger implications. What do you think is the broader implications for this militarization of the police and this kind of mentality that they seem to be getting this training to fear veterans and fear those who are constitutionalists and fear Americans exercising their Second Amendment right?
Well, they want us to self-censor. I mean, that's the worst form of tyranny, when we're so afraid to say anything or do anything that we self-censor. And the MIAC report that came out here a few years ago, I mean, I'm a constitutionalist. I believe in the Constitution. I love it. I served my country in combat as a veteran. I'm pro-life. I'm pro-gun. I supported Ron Paul. So suddenly I'm on a list. And what's very startling about this particular sheriff is he had the Southern Poverty Law Center in here training his deputies a few years ago. And a lot of the rank and file deputies actually expressed their concerns with the training and their concerns with the direction that the sheriff was taking the department. And so I think that anytime we have somebody that is saying innocent citizens that have done nothing else other than love the Constitution are somehow the enemy, we don't live in a free country anymore. And when that is allowed to stand, then tyranny gets a foothold. And I think that that's one of the reasons there's been such this great public outcry here in Spokane Valley, Washington, why there's going to be a protest in front of the sheriff's office this weekend, and why he needs to take action to do, I think, the right thing, which would be to apologize to the citizens, do some remedial constitutional rights classes, establish a citizen board to oversee the deployment of that MRAP, or even better yet, get rid of it and send it back. And also to meet with the people he's offended instead of trying to blame them for what his deputy said. And clearly, what other conversations occurred before this to make that deputy so comfortable that he could say that in a public place in front of a Walmart?
Absolutely. Do you see any legislation or anything coming from just what we've learned in recent months about the 1033 program and just how outspoken they're being about what this military equipment is actually going to be used for?
Well, we are. There's a group of Liberty legislators in Washington State. We have something called the Freedom Agenda, and we're working very closely together right now to address this situation. And I want to highlight one other thing that happened in October, actually October 20th, 2014. Our sheriff had a closing statement at the Central Valley High School Government Club debate, and here's what he said. This is an exact transcription. Quote, "I, with the strike of a pen, can affect your freedom. I can also take your life in certain circumstances." That is an alarming attitude. So I think that regardless of what legislation we introduce, we have got to change the attitude back to what it originally was, and that's being a peace officer instead of a law enforcement officer. And I think if that happens, we won't be having these discussions about MRAPs being used against constitutionalists anywhere in America.
My goodness, that is absolutely chilling quote that you read. And that is the mentality. They are given a license to kill, and yet we see them again and again being able to get away with it, not being indicted because of this blue privilege. But Representative, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for meeting with us last minute. And anything else we need to know about the protests? I know they're planned for this Saturday.
This Saturday in front of the Valley Sheriff's Office at about 2 o'clock. And so far, the response has been overwhelming, so I expect a very good turnout there. A lot of elected officials are talking about attending as well. So I think this is a broad rejection and repudiation of how the sheriff is handling this entire situation.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for what you're doing. We'll speak soon. So should you be concerned if you're not one of those armed constitutionalists? Well, yes, considering that the police are now shooting people just because they feel threatened. What does that even mean? How do you even measure a threat level? Well, now police are using a new application that combs through all of your social media posts to determine your threat level. Law enforcement authorities have utilized an application called Beware since 2012. It takes just seconds to crawl billions of records in commercial and public databases to assign a threat rating to an individual, green, yellow, or red. It can scan residents' online comments, social media, and recent purchases for any warning signs. They'll use commercial, criminal, and social media information, including any comments that could be construed as offensive, and all of these things contribute to the threat score. Homeowners who don't trim their trees can also be targeted as well. So, of course, this has red flags everywhere. Not only is this setting up a society for pre-crime, but there's all sorts of opportunities for this to fail. What if the system doesn't update if a person moves out of their home and a new person with a different threat level moves into that home? We've already seen SWAT teams throw a flashbang grenade into the crib of baby Boo Boo because they didn't realize that a baby was in the home. They did that mistakenly, and they got off scot-free when they threw a flashbang grenade into a crib that blew a hole in a baby's chest and face and put scars all over his body. So, of course, something like that could happen if they're using this to determine someone's threat level and it's not updated. And, of course, if you get pulled over, now cops are going to be able to assess your threat level before they even step out of the vehicle. So this just gives us another reason to worry about being scared by a trigger-happy, too-scared cop. But what also constitutes an offensive or threatening post online? People have been in jail for posting rap lyrics. So this is all, it's incredibly chilling. And the sheriff saying that constitutionalists are the biggest threat to America really doesn't fly with the facts and the reality that Americans are 9 times more likely to be shot by police officers than terrorists, and 5,000 people have been killed by police officers since 9/11. Now, according to a recent PBS poll, an overwhelming majority of Americans now favor gun rights. And this was a poll that was run by PBS, the government-funded PBS, might I say. And this was on the 2-year anniversary of Sandy Hook. And basically, they pumped readers full with pro-gun control statistics and then asked people whether they would like these similar gun control policies in their state. And of course, they were probably shocked at the overwhelming response. 95% of respondents believe that laws like this will unnecessarily punish lawful gun owners and will do little to prevent mass shootings. That was 79,000 votes out of a total of 83,000. So Americans can see the writing on the wall, even when they're faced with irrefutable proof. Their own sheriffs on